All right, today we're going to talk about OYO Rooms, and this story is, well, it's a wild one. It's about a company that grew faster than anyone imagined, shot for the stars, and then came incredibly close to just completely burning out. So here's the big question, right? How does a company become this massive, celebrated global giant and then somehow lose control of its own empire? That's the puzzle we're going to unpack today.
So, where does a story like this even begin? Well, it starts with one person, Ritesh Agarwal. You have to picture this. He's a teenager from a small town in India, no family money or anything, but he has this huge idea to solve the messy, totally unpredictable world of budget hotels.
So his first shot at this was a company called Oroville Stays, which was basically like an Indian version of Airbnb. But he quickly realized something crucial. The real problem wasn't finding places to stay. It was that none of them were the same. There was zero standardization. So in 2013, he made a game-changing pivot. He relaunched his OYO Rooms to fix that one core problem.
And this was the new mission. It sounds so simple, but it was absolutely genius. A reliable hotel, powered by tech, with a clean room, Wi-Fi that actually works, and all for a price you can afford. This was exactly what people wanted, and that simple idea was about to attract some of the biggest money in the world.
And this is where things just go into absolute overdrive. We're not just talking about growth anymore. This was hyper-growth, like strapping a rocket to the company. And the rocket fuel? Well, in 2015, the investment giant SoftBank came along and decided to pour billions into Ritesh's vision. I mean, just look at the timeline. It's insane. SoftBank invests in 2015. By 2018, that's just 3 years later, OYO is the third largest hotel chain on the entire planet. And a year after that, they're in over 80 countries. It was a global blitz that was just breathtaking to watch. And at the absolute peak of all this craziness, a valuation of $10 billion, with a B. That number made it official. OYO was a celebrated unicorn. And Ritesh Agarwal, that kid with a dream, he was now being called a visionary, a symbol of India's startup scene. But you know how these stories go. This is where the music changes. Because underneath all the success and all the glowing headlines, the foundation of this massive empire was starting to crack. The company was living by a really dangerous mantra: growth at all costs. And you can see the conflict right here. On one side, OYO was promising the world to small hotel owners. We'll guarantee your revenue. We'll be your partner. But the reality for a lot of them, it was a total mess. We're talking late payments or no payments at all. Properties being listed without anyone asking. It was pure chaos. Inside the company, it was basically a pressure cooker. The whole culture became obsessed with hitting these aggressive, almost impossible targets. It wasn't about profits or building something that would last. It was just about the numbers. Onboard more hotels, expand into more cities. The machine was moving way too fast to control. And well, you can probably guess what happens next. All those cracks that had been forming for years were about to be ripped wide open. The storm was coming, and when it hit hard.
It really was the perfect storm. First, you had thousands of hotel partners who were fed up and started to rebel over not getting paid. Then stories started leaking out about just how messy things were internally. And then the knockout punch. The COVID-19 pandemic hits. Global travel grinds to a halt, and hotel occupancy, the one thing their entire business was built on, vanishes. The fallout from all this was just devastating, and it had a real human cost. We're talking about over 5,000 employees being laid off. Financially, the company was bleeding money, with losses of over $500 million in a single year. The dream had turned into an absolute fight for survival. So after all of that chaos, what's the actual lesson here? This last part of the story isn't just about failure. It's about the really powerful and pretty sobering takeaways from what happened to OYO. You know, it all kind of boils down to this one thought: speed is not a strategy. And scaling up, getting huge, without a solid, sustainable business underneath it all, that's just a ticking clock. That incredible growth starts to look like an illusion. Ritesh Agarwal's dream was incredible, no doubt about it.
But what OYO's story really teaches all of us is that dreams get really, really heavy when they start to outrun discipline. Ambition is great, but it has to be balanced with control, with a focus on building something that can actually last.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In this startup world that is so obsessed with finding the next billion-dollar unicorn, you have to wonder, are we even looking for the right thing? Maybe the truly rare, the truly valuable prize in all of this isn't just explosive growth. Maybe it's sustainable growth.